Prajit, just to get a little bit um, personal here,
Sure.
If you don't mind. I mean, you, with what you have done now with NIUM and what you have done with the company over the past few years, and we have known each other for many years, and not just me, but a lot of people look up to you as inspiration.
Okay.
And I think it's easy to give what they say gyan to people,
Yeah.
but if you were to really boil it down to
Right.
2 or 3 things that you would say to others who are aspiring to be like you,
Sure.
do or don't do, what would those things be?
I think it's a great question. I don't think yet I'm inspiration to people. I've just, I think, scratched the surface. I still call myself a founder who's keeping sticky tape to keep his 5-year-old startup alive. Having said this, I think 3 key things is you have to be, if not the smartest, the most hardworking guy in the office, right? All your colleagues need to say that that guy doesn't sleep because they are seeing you constantly working. That kind of peppers them up as well, saying that, okay, if this guy is doing so many different things and I can send an email at 4 a.m. and receive a response at 4:03, that really means the fact that I also step up, right? So I think that's one. It's very important to kind of build that. Second is, if you are in the space of, say, enterprise, like what we are in, you have to be out hitting the streets with your sales guy. There is no founder. There is a sales guy who kind of meets, runs around. And that's again creating a great experience of the feeling, the fact that, hey, I'm in a startup, but in reality the founder is selling with me as he is cold calling, he's reaching out to people on LinkedIn. I still do that. And I find it one of the most enjoyable parts of this because that's the experience I got into the startup. And if I'm not selling, I'm not really helping my firm, right?
So that's a great point.
Right.
To sell.
Third is, we are a startup, we are not profitable. You need to lead by the frugality example, right? It's again very, very crucial because especially in a startup, you can get out of hand. It's frugality, and I'm not meaning about expenses, but even hiring. The simplest mistakes which startups do after fundraising is go berserk on hiring, right? You suddenly go hire far more people than you need. And 12 months later, now you're trying to fire people because they don't make sense. It's not fair to do that. So you need to really hire in the right sense. I think the 4th key thing is hiring. As a founder, you need to be fully involved in hiring. Because when you hire the guy, you're seeing the culture, the adaptation. A wrong hire in a startup like us will put us back by a couple of years. Because the fact that it will hurt you so much, because unlike a large company where a bad hire can just disappear, in a startup they don't disappear. They will be like right in front and it'll hurt you very badly. So hiring is something you should take full control. We've created a panel where for any senior level hires, like 4 or 5 of us meet. Hiring, also the key thing to check is culture, because a lot of people miss the culture point. Sometimes you're just not the right cultural fit in the company, right? And that's a call which you take. I think these are 3-4 things which I would impart to people, people I would say. And be very frugal with your founders, the venture capital money you raise. There is, markets will turn, and when it turns, you will have a lot of options to acquire companies which are not able to raise money, but be in the position of sitting with money in the bank to acquire, and not in the position where you have to say, hey, listen, I'll have to sell now.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me ask you the same, and only one more question if you don't
Sure.
mind. What if, because here's also what I'm seeing.
Right.
I'm seeing a lot of grown-up companies,
Right.
big brands, wanting to become like startups.
Right.
And sometimes the intent is there,
Right.
but they don't know what it means.
Correct.
So if you were to advise,
Right.
a true somebody, an executive at a large company who
Right.
wants to behave like a startup
Right.
on a global scale,
Correct.
how do you think they should think differently? Is there something from your experience
I think
that they should think differently?
One, I think you shouldn't do it, right? Like, second is, if they're serious about it, I would incubate a completely new venture, which does this separately. What nowadays, which I see, is people make it a cool office. You're allowed to dress down. Like if you're in a bank, you can walk in a pair of jeans. Cool office environment, open office. I think that's all bullshit, right? Your technology is the key thing in a startup. Some of these legacy platforms are old, right? And that's why they want to think nimbly. if I were them, I would just set up a completely new venture or buy a new venture and say that this is going to be where I'm going to test trial everything. Because take any of the large firms, right? They're not going to be able to run at the pace at what the rules, the responsibilities, the regulations, just to get through. Why do people leave banks, right, and come and work with fintechs with us? Because they don't want to go through that whole process of creating process notes to make a change or business cases to get an approval to spend money. Right here, it's very nimble and fast-paced. If you decide to go there, you'll go through the same process, right? So that's one of the reasons. How many of banks, venture capital, or sorry, not venture capital, like corporate development, are successful, right?
So I think your first answer was spot on. Don't do it.
yeah, exactly. Don't do it. Means if you want to do it,
do it the right way.
Do it the right way, which is either acquire something 100%
and keep it separate.
And keep it separate. Everything is separate. Then it's easy, right?
Right.
Oh, so nobody can come and say that why we doing it this way and these guys doing it this way.
Right.
You can always say that's a completely different subsidiary. It does its own stuff. Yeah.
And in fact, that I think is also a great model for how big banks should approach this whole challenger banking, neobanking space, right? Probably better to just do it from scratch.
Absolutely.
In parallel with what you have, and give people options.
Correct.
And allow both to coexist for some time. Prajit, thank you so much for being here. I really enjoyed talking to you.
Sure. Thanks, Aditya. Thank you so much.
Thank you.